Hi everyone, Professor Philip Travis here. This is the history of modern Germany here at Eastern Oregon University. It is week 2, and this week we are going to start our fun extra credit activity, which is associated with our weekly announcements. The way the extra credit activity works is you watch these weekly announcements. In the weekly announcements, I will provide you with information about weekly readings and assignments, information about upcoming things in the course, tips and pointers about tests, about papers, and these types of things. And in addition to that, to sort of encourage us to watch these and engage in the material early in the week, I have an extra credit activity associated with these. Here's how the extra credit activity works. Each week, watch the opening announcements sometime before the end of the day on Wednesday. In the opening announcements, I will state some kind of historical factoid, some kind of historical narrative or piece of historical information. I will tell you clearly, this is the factoid. And then all you have to do is send me an email no later than Wednesday by midnight. The reason that I want it by Wednesday by midnight is because I want you watching these announcements and engaging this material early. I want you getting into the class early rather than leaving things to the end of the week. That's my thinking with that. So send me an email no later than Wednesday by midnight and just give me a brief synopsis of the factoid, whatever it may be. And then I take your email, I put it in a special folder. I tabulate the points, and by the end of the term, each one of these is worth 1 point, unless sometimes I have a really long video, and so I say more than 1 point, but they're each worth 1 point, so you can earn up to at least 10 points of extra credit by the end of the term. What I do then is I take those 10 points and I add them to one of your test scores by the end of the term, or at the end of the term. It ultimately will result in something in the way of 2.5 to 3 points on a grade point. So it can be a difference in a plus or a minus or in a letter grade. It can really have an important impact on your final grade at the end of the term. So it's a great opportunity to sort of continue to help your grade out as the term progresses. This week, we are reading chapter 4 and 6 from our History of Modern Germany from Martin Kitchen. Chapter 4 and 6 from a History of Modern Germany by Kitchen. We'll have a quiz on that this week. The quiz is timed. I believe the time is at 25 minutes. It is a multiple choice quiz, multiple choice true false quiz based on the reading of chapter 4 and 6. The subject for this week that we're going to be looking at is on the revolutions of 1848 and then the ultimate unification of Germany in 1871 under the leader of the Prussian Junker Otto von Bismarck, sometimes referred to as the Iron Chancellor of Germany, who is largely associated with the first formation of a unified German nation state, which occurred through war, by the way. Wars like the Austrian-Prussian War, the Danish-Prussian War, and the Franco-Prussian War. Each of those conflicts involved conflicts where Bismarck suggested that frontier areas within other countries of Germany, like in the case of Denmark, Schleswig and Holstein, or in the case of France, Alsace and Lorraine, that these areas were German areas of German-speaking people, and ultimately wars were fought largely over these areas. There were other issues, but to a large degree over those areas, and resulted in the Prussian and then German annexation of those areas, and they were used as a way to sort of cobble together a sense of German national identity, as though all Germans were fighting for the Germans that were, for example, made part of Denmark when they should be part of Prussia or Germany, or made part of France when they should be part of Germany. And this, of course, as you wouldn't be surprised, sows a lot of the seeds for coming conflicts. Alsace, for example, this picture you see here is from the region around Alsace, which is an area that at one time was independent, but it was an area on the frontier of Germany and France. It's a place where lots of towns have German names, where there's lots of German speakers, but it's part of France today. And it was part of France during the 1800s until the Franco-Prussian War, when Germany annexed Alsace and held control of Alsace until the Treaty of Versailles at the end of the First World War. 1848, too, was a period of time in which revolutions swept across Europe. And these were liberal revolutions. Remember, at this time, what it means to be conservative and liberal really meant this. If you were a conservative, you were in favor of the status quo. You would be in favor of the Austrian sort of monarchy's influence and control over the Holy Roman Empire. You would have largely been opposed to independent self-government and free market economics if you were a conservative. The revolutions of 1848 were driven to a large degree by liberal desires for self-government, free market economics, and there were some also following the revolutionary socialist writer Karl Marx and related ideas who were pushing for more radical social changes. And there were uprisings. This is the same period when the Communist Manifesto comes out. There were like workers' uprisings, but none of it took the shape that Karl Marx really would have envisioned. So that's our subject for this week, the revolutions of 1848 to the unification of Germany in 1871. Now here's the factoid. The factoid this week is I wanted to show you some slides from an area of Germany. This is a history of modern Germany, so I wanted to show you some pictures from some of the portions of southern Germany around the city of Freiburg. Now, Freiburg is today, it's one of the green cities of Europe. It is a young university city. It is an environmentally conscious city as well. It's located in the Black Forest, which is about 25 kilometers from where this picture you're looking at is located. This is right on the frontier. This is actually in Alsace, so technically today this is France, and this is Alsace wine country here you see, and you see what would be the Vosges Mountains in the background, but they're just right next to the Black Forest and the mountains. Well, they're small mountains. They're really hills. They're no bigger than this. Near Freiburg, Germany. We're right on the border of what is today the country of Germany, and in an area that the French and the Germans would historically dispute whether or not it was legitimately part of France or Germany. This is a view. This area is also very close to the Rhine River, and this is a view overlooking the valleys in this general area. And again, it is very similar to the Black Forest region around Freiburg, Germany. And I'm going to show you some images from Freiburg, Germany here in a second. This area is associated with many, many old castles. Here you see the ruins of the three castles of Igsheim, which is located, again, it's a German name, and it's located up in the hills, right on the edge of the Black Forest. And these remnants of these castle keeps, these castle structures, go back about 800-900 years, even older for some of the structures. And that's the age of Freiburg, Germany. Now this is a picture of the famous Freiburg Münster Cathedral. And Freiburg, Germany, which is located, I'll show you a map in a second. Freiburg, Germany is located in the south of Germany, very close to the border of France and Switzerland. Frei means free, so free city. And this is a very famous cathedral located in the old medieval portion of Freiburg. Freiburg is 900 years old, though in a way, and I mentioned it's a very young city in terms of age groups, the people. It's a university city. It's very young. It's very environmentally conscious. Freiburg, too, during the Second World War was badly damaged from bombing. And so, interestingly, a lot of the things you see when you're going around Freiburg have actually been rebuilt, and using many of the materials from the pre-World War II city, but nonetheless rebuilt, and so in a way kind of new, even if it is a 900-year-old medieval city. You see here, you see the forest up here kind of coming almost into the city. Freiburg is nestled in the Black Forest, and these small mountains are all around it. It's a very environmental city, and this is in the old medieval center. They were having a little German festival at the time when we were here, and it's in the old medieval center. And the cathedral is right here. And I know this is a little bit blurry, but this is the only picture I had of this. I didn't get great pictures this day for whatever reason, but I still wanted to show it to you because you can see on the one hand the old medieval construction of the buildings on the left side of the screen, and then to the right side of the screen you can see the massive structure of this Gothic cathedral. The cathedral at Freiburg, the Münster Cathedral at Freiburg, and of course the cobblestone streets. You cannot drive cars into these areas. It's a very old medieval center to this city, which is today a city of, I believe, about 250,000. Another look at this cathedral. This is a Gothic cathedral, and so what makes it a Gothic cathedral, particularly if you can see my pointer, I think you should be able to see my pointer if I move it up here, are these right here, which are the flying buttresses. And flying buttresses allow them to build these very tall, these arches, these very tall walls that allow them to create these massive ceilings on the inside. They're called vaulted ceilings. And so Gothic cathedrals were able to obtain a massive sense, providing to the worshiper a sense of the sublime, to that which transcends humanity, if you will. And that Gothic cathedral is a truly European style of architecture during the Middle Ages. I should say a truly middle-aged architecture, built off of the old Romanesque style. And this is one of the many Gothic cathedrals found across Europe today. And again, here you see in this center square, the cathedral's in the center. Around the edge, you have the old medieval style buildings, and there are restaurants and these types of things in these buildings today if you ever visit. Freiburg is located right down here. You see in the very corner, so Alsace is this region right here on the edge. Up here is Lorraine. Freiburg is right down here in the corner of Germany, in what would be the region of Bavaria, right on the frontier of France, Germany, and Switzerland. Another really kind of neat thing about Freiburg has, because it's in the Black Forest, it's in these small mountains, there's forest all around the city. The old medieval city has the natural streams are all channeled through the streets of the city, which again, there's very limited motor traffic in these areas. It's an old medieval area. And I'm standing in a little stream. It's okay to do that. Everybody was doing that. I'm standing in a little stream that flows through the city. I wouldn't drink this water, but it's not sewer water. It's not rainwater per se. It is, the city has these natural streams that are guided through this old city, the city of Freiburg. So the factoid for this week, a little bit long, maybe I'll give you 2 points for this one. The factoid for this week is Freiburg, Germany, a city located in the Black Forest in the greater Rhine River region, a place that is ancient and on the frontiers of Germany and France. And as a result, a location that was pretty close to some of the central motivations when it came to the unification of Germany during the Franco-Prussian War of 1870 and 71. So Freiburg, Germany, a young, green city in the 21st century, a 900-year-old city with a rebuilt medieval center.